Hey everyone. Uh, Today was also a long day like yesterday. To catch you up, today's day 5. We're 371 days away from Worlds. Um, Overall, we're feeling pretty good. I'd say, you know, in talking a little bit more about like my real life stuff, um, it was a bit of a longer day today as well. Um, Part of my work trips that I do is where I work 10 days in a row and then I get like 4 days off at home. So even though it's Friday, I still work through the weekend. So it's like a Tuesday or a Wednesday for me. So we're not out of the woods yet, but hopefully we are getting back to like an 8 hour day and not doing 16-hour days again. But I have a few things on the agenda for today. Um, One of the things that I did was that on my lunch break again, I did like a quick showdown game because I was really feeling one at the time, and I actually won that game. And I was just kind of poking around through like the showdown settings after the match, and I realized that I could replay the games. Um, and show it to you guys turn by turn. And it is a game that I do want to show you, and I'm not going to spoil it. But there were some things that I felt like I did correctly that match that I'm going to try to apply and replicate into the what we're planning to do today, which is do another 4 matches of Showdown. But before we get into jumping back into Showdown land, I did want to talk about two things primarily. Um, the first one that I kind of want to talk about is it might be a bit boring, but for those that are actually trying to do what I'm doing, for example, it's super helpful, and that's the rules of tournaments for VGC. Um, One of the great things about competitive Pokemon that I've been able to look at over the past couple years, just looking back at like old databases and whatnot, is just the amount of meta that gets changed by just like which Pokemon are allowed to be played and which ones are not allowed to be played. Right now, we're currently in Regulation I, and that is actually set to expire and have the finish of its current run through in the current playbook at the end of this month, August 31st. So there's still, if I look at my calendar real quick, that's still one more week of like official tournaments that will be played in Regulation I. And the reason why I kind of bring this up is because a lot of Regulation I is these restricted Pokemon, and that's things like the Lunala that we use and the Koraidon that we use. Um, it's a pretty big this regulation as far as I'm aware, and this isn't like a true thing like or like factual, so I could be wrong, but for most of the Scarlet Violet Pokemon games, Regulation I or variations of this similar type of rule set has been applied kind of throughout the whole game's longevity. And there is definitely a group of members of VGC that want something different, and we do kind of see that brewing with Regulation H, which is a newer regulation that's coming out. And that actually introduces mythical Pokemon into the realm. If you're unfamiliar with what like a mythical Pokemon would be, just know that like a Lunala, a Kyogre, a Groudon, those are all considered legendary Pokemon. I kind of always kind of group legendary Pokemon into like what you see on the cover of the Pokemon game that you buy or its counterpart rival game. Mythical Pokemon are usually the ones that are found within the game that have a specific piece of lore tied to a certain element of the story. So think someone like Arceus, for example, is a mythical Pokemon. So there's some things in the meta that can get shaked up there, and it's definitely grabbed interest from what I've gathered out of a lot of people. Um, and so that begs the questions as someone like me, or someone who's even trying to like try to get into VGC is like, what's the point of trying to train up on a rule set that may not be valuable, a week from now. And honestly, I think one of the best things about Regulation I, personally, and this is just my opinion, but is the amount of like data that we can back into it and the kind of strategies and formulas that we can fall back onto. That can help expedite and accelerate the learning curve that a newer player or a common player can get introduced to. There's a lot of gameplay out there of really high level gameplay of competitors doing Regulation I. And there's a lot that we can learn from that. And I feel like we're learning it pretty quickly as well, given that it's just been 4 days of consistent training and focused learning that we've put into it. So that really does beg the question of do we just fold our hand right now with Regulation I and draw a new set of cards for Regulation H and try to work on that? And you might be thinking yeah, that's probably the right thing to do. But my big problem with doing that is that the real tournaments that I'm looking at and I'm really focusing on are ones that grant rewards that are championship points, and that's really what gets a competitor, into Worlds. And part of that is that, as far as from what I can see, and we can walk through this stuff as well, if I was to say register for the Milwaukee Regionals, which is in September, I believe, we can take a look at it together. You register for it in September, but there's no official VGC rule book that tells you what the rules are going to be for September. And, just from the quick little data that I've had, regulations can change in the middle of a season. And one of the things that I really do want to call back to is when Worlds ended, they do a closing ceremony. And so the CEO of Pokemon came out, and, usually they do a big advertisement for what's coming up next. And so, we got a teaser for, the next booster pack or the next the next packs that go into TCG Pocket. And a very vital, important piece of information was shared with the VGC community, which is that Pokemon Worlds and the 2026 season, I think it's all of the 2026 season, or at least the later half for sure, once we're in the official calendar year of 2026, will happen in Pokemon Champions. And what is one thing that Pokemon Champions really coincides with is the reintroduction of some previous gimmicks of older games. That's probably not the best way to say it, but what I'm really talking about here is Mega Evolutions. And I really have, maybe it's a tinfoil hat right now, but a lot of the rumors are saying that Champions will release in January. And in January, I could see the regulation changing that for, the second half of the 2026 season, we're playing a new regulation that is based on megas within Champions. And for the first 6 months of this year, and aka the start of the 2026 season, we'll actually be seeing either a variation of Regulation H or Regulation I. But I just feel like it'd be really, if I was the Pokemon company and if I was the CEO, I want people to play my new, Pokemon Champions, which is a game solely dedicated to competitive battling for Pokemon. And the biggest pull and feature of that was being able to use all of the gimmicky moves from previous games, whether that's, Dynamaxing, Z moves, Mega Evolutions, and Terastallizing in the most recent game. So for me, with Legend ZA coming out in October and Champions coming out in January, and we already know that Worlds is going to be played in Champions. I just have a strong suspicion that we will actually be looking at more so of a Worlds that returns to a Mega Evolution geared meta and what that looks like. So I know I just kind of spit out a lot of information, but my big takeaway as someone who's trying to train and trying to figure out how to at least rival some of these veterans in the tournaments is that I myself am not currently planning for the first 6 months of the 2026 season of VGC, or the rest of this year to take any type of travel to any regional tournament of any kind. I really kind of want to prove myself and feel comfortable with doing things like that, especially within Showdown, but also the time it's going to take in the actual Switch games to get the Pokemon, get them at the right stats that I want them to be at, etc. And so for me, I will be sticking to at least training in Regulation I and just making sure that I am reading the right appropriate calls and making the correct team switches, and trying out different variations of teams throughout the process within Regulation I. I don't think I will necessarily be stepping too much into Regulation H, or at least putting as much time and energy into it, unless there's the new VGC playbook comes out and they say that Regulation H will be the next thing that is running until Champions comes out, or even past Champions. So for me, maybe that just means for the next week I'm doing Reg I until the new playbook comes out, or I stick with it. But I really am kind of a firm believer that we are going to get within Champions, we're going to be Mega Evolution, we're going to be Mega Evolving, I should say, our Pokemon, and we're going to see that on the main stage at Worlds. Like, I can almost guarantee that. So it'd kind of be stupid if we play Champions at Worlds, and then we're doing the same thing we did last year with terastallizing. So that's just my opinion. And that's something I did want to talk about a little bit, because I think it's a bit more of like a boring thing to kind of talk about, and I don't necessarily see a lot of competitors at least talking about their thought process when they go into it. I think it's kind of become a bit more of a second nature where these seasoned veterans and competitors within the scene can really adapt to any regulation, right? But as someone who's coming in new, let's stick with what we know and what's been working in past championships, and let's see how far we can climb up. So that was the one of the things I wanted to talk about in this podcast / soap opera, or soapbox, I should say. So the next one that I wanted to talk about as well was, I got a comment on one of my videos, which was discussing like also a new player into the scene and just trying to find the right communities that you can kind of get into. So, a big thing that I at least used when getting started was, of course, utilizing like YouTube videos and finding YouTubers that have their own Discords that focus on Pokemon content, and kind of joining those, and then also utilizing Reddit as a tool as a toolkit. I know I'm kind of laughing because it's Reddit, but what I wanted to show you guys is at least 3 Discord servers that I've joined, at least today, that seem to be a bit helpful, or at least get you talking to the right people that can allow you to find that niche little spot on the internet that you like to be in. So we can go here, and the first one was the VGC Trainer School. I saw this one come up a lot, and this one does require a verification, so just make sure you read their rules and get that going. But this is a good place for you to ask questions and things like that. There's also local VGC servers that you can find in here. I think it's a great springboard for things like that. Coaching is in here as well, and then things like useful resources and whatnot. So, there's some good stuff that you can do here. Another one is like r/VGC. This is just the subreddit of VGC. This one, they talk about kind of a lot of stuff. So it's not all, focused directly on, things. It's just kind of in general Pokemon, and there's just notifications all the time, it feels like. But, you kind of get a little bit of people talking about, if you go to the right channels and you read the right stuff, you'll be able to find some cool things. And the last one that I found was Smogan, who we've been utilizing their website this whole time. They have some good discussions happening here as well. So if you're looking for Discourse to join, of just making sure you talk to the right people or want to talk about the same people, these are a couple good ones. So I hope that's helpful for anyone, trying to socialize and make friends. I know it can get difficult, especially for me. So let's go ahead and move into the next thing, which was I wanted to show you guys the gameplay that I did during my lunch break at work. The reason why I wanted to kind of bring this up is, I feel like they had a pretty stacked team, a very meta team. They had a lot going on here, and then I kind of remembered a note that I gave to myself, and I'll read it word for word because I wrote it down in my journal, which was, I wrote down who I thought my starting team was, and who I felt the most comfortable pulling into a match with 4 Pokemon. And it was Brute Bonnet, Ursaluna, Lunala, and then my 4th I chose as a flex position based on getting a type advantage on whatever my team would utilize. So going into this, I went with those 3 that we kind of talked about. And then I can't remember, I think it was Lunala, or I think it was Chi-Yu that I threw in as my last one. Okay. Sorry, we're going a little too fast. I didn't realize that this would play out word for word, so I gotta do pauses and make sure that we kind of talk about this. So I decided to open up with a Brute Bonnet and Lunala. The reason why I chose to do this here was I wanted to figure out what my opponent was kind of going to do. So with the Psychic Surge up, I decided that I would go for a move of a Wide Guard, and then I went to try to Sucker Punch the Calyrex into, I thought he would turn 1 Astral Barrage because he had a type advantage against Lunala, and he'd try to get it out. So that was the call that I made, and it was actually the wrong call. So he actually hit a Follow Me with a Nasty Plot. So we're looking at a very scary Calyrex here that teared into Dark, which is very scary. And so what does he do to support that Calyrex? He throws in Incineroar. And Incineroar comes in, and I'm like, crap, okay. I know he's gonna do a fake out, and then he's gonna Astral Barrage. So I go for a second Wide Guard because I know Wide Guard is gonna protect both of my Pokemon. Instead of doing Astral Barrage, he did Expanding Force, but again, same gist, it's a dual attack. And then I actually went for a Spore on Calyrex here. So I actually immediately slept him, making sure that the buildup that he just utilized provided 0 value. So we're now turn 2, the end of turn 2, he built up his Pokemon, 0 value. So we get the sleep. After that, I go ahead and say, okay, I think Brute Bonnet's done his job. He also has a type disadvantage against the Incineroar that's on the playing field. Here comes that fake out that I talked about, and he went for Ursaluna on my for the fake out. But one thing that he misplayed was that with the Psychic Terrain, you can't do a fake out. So he's fast asleep. I set a Trick Room to give me advantage, and then my Burn Orb procs. And then from here, he really can't do much. So I do another Wide Guard just in case he woke up. I do a Facade, one-hit KO Calyrex. He does a knockoff, takes off my Power Herb, which kind of sucked, I won't lie. And then he throws in Zamazenta. So Zamazenta is a little fast, right? But Zamazenta is still scary. It's a very bulky Pokemon. And that kind of sucks, right? But one of the things when I talk about it, if you remember, I went for a type advantage. So Chi-Yu was my 4th Pokemon in the pocket. So I knew he had a Grass. He had a Psychic, 2 Psychic, and a Psychic Ghost, and then a Psychic Normal, and then a Fighting Steel. So I knew Dark type could make some good work here. So I was like, I need to make sure that I have Chi-Yu because I could get some really cool type advantages. So he has Zamazenta in here. And then I go for a Wide Guard. I honestly, looking back at it, I don't think there was any reason why I should have went for a Wide Guard here. I think I was really just like trying to play as safe as... Oh, that's why I went for the Wide Guard. Sorry, my bad. I went for the Wide Guard so that I could Earthquake. So that allowed Lunala to take no damage. And then we're going to see Incineroar go bye-bye. And I was really disappointed because it didn't really do that much damage to Zamazenta. But he has that 1.5 defense buff, so it's fine. He then one-hit KOs Ursaluna, who is my sweeper at this time. You'll also notice that Psychic Terrain is gone that turn, and Indeedee back in. Psychic Terrain's back, but remember, Trick Room is still active for 2 turns. So, I have 2 slow Pokemon still on the field with speed advantage, or at least speed control. I didn't really know what to do with Brute Bonnet here, because obviously, with Chi-Yu in the pocket, I wanted to throw him in, but I had 2 turns of Trick Room, so I needed to stall. And so, that's what we go ahead and try to do. I went for a Moongeist Beam, and it did 41%. I was so surprised that he lived that, but that's just what happens. He kills Lunala. I'm down to my final 2 Pokemon. He's down to his final 2 Pokemon. I throw in my Chi-Yu. I have 1 Trick Room turn left, so I need to stall again. This is where I think he also did another misplay. He went for a very safe Zamazenta play here, which I don't think was the right move. I went for a Rage Powder just in case, they did try to target Chi-Yu as like the number 1 op, but he just keeps going for this Draining Kiss on Brute Bonnet. I think he tried to do it on Chi-Yu and I caught it, and then I'm Scarfed, and then I Scarfed with Heat Wave, which is a dual attack. And with me doing 67% to Indeedee and then a 7% on Zamazenta, like, I had game right there with another Rage Powder. So I just kept that game, like, in my control at all times. But this further reinforced what I wrote in my journal. And we're going to try to do the same thing. So yeah. I did want to show you guys as well, at least on the Pokemon website, you can see the most recent articles, but what I did want to show you, kind of going back and talking about the rule sets and things like that, we can go to Rules and Resources, and then we can go to Video Game Rules and Resources, and then you can actually click this link, and it's going to look like a contract, but really, we're looking at regulation changes. So look, so with each new set of ranked battle regulations in the battle stadium, adjustments may be made to the list of permitted Pokemon. See below for detail. So Regulation Set I runs until August 31st. Sometimes a new set of regulations may come into effect through a tournament that spans multiple days. For example, a regional championship. If this happens, the tournament will continue with the format it started with until the end of the event. Single days might use that. But basically what I wanted to show you guys was that like Regulation I does run until August 31st. We may see an extension of Regulation Set I extend to December 31st, or we may see it change to H, and then it change to a new regulation for when Champions comes out. We don't know, but we will be watching this website for the new rules. So be on the lookout September 1st. Let's see what we get, right? Let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So, again, I'm going to keep playing it safe. So, again, we're going to start the same way that we did that last game that I showed you guys. Brute Bonnet, Lunala, Ursaluna. Let's figure out what type advantage we have and if we do have any. So we have Fighting Dark, Fire Dark, Dark Fairy, Psychic Ice, Electric Dragon, Ground Flying. Fairy type will do very well here. So Fluttermane it is. And I didn't really think that Koraidon would be good because of that Landorus with a ground typing. So he's going to go for a Fake Out. So I think what would be cool is if I Spore Landorus, and then I'm going to try to Meteor Beam Incineroar. Let's just see if this works. Wow, I hit first. Holy moly. Knockoff, totally cool. Spore, he had Electric Terrain. That's totally an okay call because I switched. So I'm cool with this. We're going to go ahead and try to Trick Room and Rage Powder. Again, we got to get that speed control. He switches in. Totally cool. Rage Powder, Electro Drift. We tank it. Trick Room. Okay, we got speed control. Electric Terrain is still up. I think he's Scarfed. I think we go for a Sucker Punch. And then we will which one do we want to do here? I already did my Power Herb, and Wide Guard won't really do anything. So I think I just switch in Ursaluna here. Okay, he switches in Calyrex. Okay. Yikes. Okay. That's fine. So, again, I think I will Wide Guard, and then we will... Earthquake won't work, so let's Facade into Landorus. Glacial Lance, yep, protected. Wanted to take him out. I'm not really scared of Calyrex here because of Wide Guard. Incineroar's low. I'm going to Wide Guard again, and we're going to Earthquake. I'm curious to see if you like Draco Meteors or something. Cool. Yeah, see, I don't know if my opponents know that I can just Wide Guard over and over again. I think that's just making them go crazy. We're just going to do the same thing again because I think he's Scarfed with Glacial Lance right now. Let's see if I was right. Yeah, he's Scarfed. We can just tank it, kill Incineroar, and then we'll Facade next turn just to confirm it. Yeah, he was scarfed. Cool. All right. So again, I think that was like a play-by-play of the same thing there. Cool. Look, it's a pretty similar team here. So this is where it gets pretty fun because we have basically three fire type because he has Terra, Fire, Koraidon, Grass, Ghost, Fairy, Ghost. So Chi-Yu is great. I don't necessarily want to open with Brute Bonnet again, but I'm just going to switch up my positions a little bit here. So he opens Chi-Yu, Amoonguss. So I do Chi-Yu, Lunala. Interesting. Pretty cool. We're going to go ahead and just like Heat Wave if we can. Special defense is really low here. So in case he overheats or snarls, I'm going to Wide Guard. Okay. He taunts me. That's fine. I want to get taunted. So I'm already Ghost. Do I Terra now? Because I think he just has the 2 fire type. Let's see. Can you Terra fire, please? Collision Course. Boom. I had a feeling either way, like it's either Collision Course or Close Combat with Koraidon, and I knew that like he probably thought that he would get Lunala for free. Like I don't know. Heat Wave again, and we'll Moongeist Beam into Calyrex. It just like Chi-Yu, that little goldfish is doing so much damage. Twin. Oh, double KO. Okay, lock in. We gotta lock in now. Okay. I think we keep up the aggression. Let's... See, I probably should have... No, I needed my Terra the other time. Let's go ahead and just try to hit an Earthquake. This is the safest thing that we can do. Again, that was fine for him. Okay. I think he wins the speed tie. Can I hit a double protect? Is that my only move? Foul play. He's going to be way faster than me, so... Can I hit a double protect? Is that crazy? Okay. Yeah, I think maybe... Yeah. Tough. Tough. But that really just came down to... that came down to right here when Lunala went down. When that double KO happened and he Astral Barraged, Lunala went down. And maybe here, when I Heat Waved, I think I tried to just kill Calyrex. I should have just went for a switch in. Yeah. I think I got a little too aggressive, but I had the right plays in the beginning. Lugia. So we have pretty good type like he has pretty good type coverage all around. So if that's the case, I think having Koraidon would be the best. Let's see. Let's start timer because I'm a little tired today. All right, so we got to do 2 more games. Come on, man. Lugia and Calyrex. I'm going to go for a... Lugia, as far as I know, is a pretty bulky... Like, he bulks up. So, maybe I can Sucker Punch Trick Room. I'm scared he's going to Astral Barrage, but, like, I really need the Trick Room to get in. Okay. If that's the case, I should really Spore Wide Guard. Helping Hand. Astral Barrage. Yep. Okay. When in doubt, trust your gut. Cool. Yeah, I think we just throw him in Trick Room. And then as soon as we hit Trick Room, let's take out Lunala. Okay. Alright. He has a Fake Out. So let me protect, and I'm actually going to hit Lugia. Let me just make sure Lugia is going to have a weakness to that, so... Yep. Okay. So... I should be moving first. So let me Facade into you, and let's just go for a double hit here. Try to see if this works. Again, I feel the most comfortable when I'm in Trick Room. See, this is why we go for... Oh, he went for the double protect. Okay. I guess that worked for him. Again, I have speed advantage with at least those guys. Cool. Double KO. 2 turns of Trick Room, 1 turn of Trick Room, 1 Pokemon. 2 Pokemon. Very fast Pokemon. We're going to keep ground on. And maybe I Terra Water just so he... Yeah. We're going to Earthquake, Wide Guard. Focus Sash, Snarl, we Wide Guard it. Still asleep. I think he wakes up this turn. Let's go for the same thing. Earthquake, let's Terra Water to be safe. That way, if I need to, I can be offensive. Cool. Double KO. Again, I know that's kind of boring, like when we repeat moves, but if I know it guarantees, like I feel like that shows that like I'm being a better player. I wonder what our peak is on like the rating system. I'd like to hit a goal of 1200, to be honest. I've never seen a team like this, but it's scaring me. Every time I see Smeargle, I get a little scared. But we have, how many fairy type was that? 1, 2, 3 fairy type. So poison is going to be good here. right? So let's see, weakness, fairy, poison and steel. We don't really have much in that category, but we can do what we can with ghost type. So again, let's go with the same thing, but we're gonna have Fluttermane this time. He's gonna have electric terrain. I'm gonna try to no, I can't spore, remember that. Let's go ahead and try to... He has water absorb, probably. So let's Rage Powder, Trick Room. Volt Switch. Whimsicott. Okay. But I Trick Roomed before he can Tailwind, so... Let's go ahead and throw in Ursaluna. And let's Moongeist Beam Whimsicott, because I don't like you. Oh, he's going to Untrick Room. Nice. Nice. I guess I'll hit it again. And then switch out. What would be best here? If I Terra Ghost... because I really need Ursaluna to carry, so I can't have him get hit by a grass water type or a grass type, like as much as I can. Tailwind is fine because I'm gonna Trick Room again, and then I'll just switch out. That didn't really work for him. I'm gonna be real. I want Zacian out. Double protect. At least I went for Zacian there. Weakness, Zacian, ground. Fire, ground. So if I do ground type, that'll be good. And then they still have electric terrain up. Ugh. Ugh. Can he follow me again? Let's Earthquake. And switch in. Because I really don't want Brute Bonnet to die either. I'm okay to tank this. Holy shit! Fluttermane! Hold on! Fluttermane, please! One hit KO. Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we just had a 75% win rate. How about that? I'm at 1187 on our rating, and just because I'm curious, when I look at my Reg I battles, can I look at that, please? Oh, I clicked this. I'm at an 1187. Is that my best? Hey, but after 5 days, here's a record. Ignore the Reg 8 one. I was just like messing around and just seeing what it was. We can ignore that. But at least in Reg I, out of 5 days, we have played 30 games. And we're at a 50% win rate out of 30 games. But remember, a lot of those we played day one. But as we take it day by day, we are getting a higher percentage in our wins and making the right calls. And for that, I'm actually happy that we're seeing improvement. We did 4 games on day one this Monday, and I only won one of those games. And now we are just day five, which is just like a Friday night. Um, and we won 3 out of those 4 games. And honestly, I probably should have won that fourth game too, or that second game we played. I should have had a 100% win rate today. Um, but I feel like super great that we did that. That was pretty awesome. uh, I'm feeling good. I'm gonna go ahead and just like finish up writing a couple notes of things that I've talked about this time. Um, and yeah, from there, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Doing the same thing tomorrow. Would love if you guys tuned in. Um, Let me know if you guys have any feedback as well, or if you guys want to see certain stuff. Just let me know, and I'm happy to either talk about things or clarify certain things. So I'll let you guys go. All right, see ya.